Okay, good afternoon, everyone, one more time. We are starting our meeting and we are starting recording. It's for us and for you if you will want to see it again. Please let me know, but it's mostly for us to make notes and to be sure that everything fine. So let's start our meeting dedicated to launch of Ukrainian nature-based solutions hub. So we have such opportunity to start to work together for a full-scale implementation of nature-based solutions in our country, for sharing experience, for sharing knowledge, for support each other on that way. And today we have very tight agenda, so I really ask all of the speakers to be short. And actually we have opportunity to stay longer if someone from you would like to chat with us after official agenda, please stay with us. And today we have presentation from our side, Ukrainian side, and also Network Nature will present their work. And also we have presentation from other nature-based solutions hub. And we're really grateful for representative of European Commission who join us and also will share their wisdom, knowledge, and advices to us about nature-based solutions and other issues. And quite big part of our meeting today is presentation of the possible partners of Ukrainian nature-based solutions hub. And and it's really important to hear your opinion, your questions. So we have not so many time for that, but please use also chat for that. Write your question in the chat. And if we don't have time to introduce each other in full scale, but if you would like to present yourself, you can also do it through the chat. So for the start, I would like to pass words to Bogdan Vihor. It's a CEO of WWF-Ukraine for welcome words. Bogdan, are you with us?
Yeah.
Please.
Dear colleagues, partners, I'm really happy to be here with you on this amazing event dedicated to launching NBS Hub for Ukraine. As you probably know, or most of you know, the WWF-Ukraine office successfully implemented project related to integration of nature-based solutions under Ukrainian political agenda funded by SIDA agency. And this work is important to continue despite the current situation in Ukraine, despite the war. Why it's important? Because nature-based solutions is the solutions which help us to solve a lot of problems created by the war to the society and also to the environment. Why? Because nature-based solutions is a universal tool which have ability to combine in one thing, in one action, activities related to improving both nature biodiversity and also condition of humans, their well-being, and so on. So I believe that this work will continue, and those nature-based solutions hub, which will be created under this network, will help us and help Ukraine successfully recover from the disaster of the war and Russia aggression against Ukraine, and it will help us to make our country future-proof, much more climate resilient, much more disaster resilient, and a flourishing country. Thank you so much. Thank you for the attention to this event.
Thank you, Bogdan. And I'd like to share my screen to for really short presentation about InSuRE project that Bogdan mentioned. and short story about our hub. Sorry, how to do that? Yeah. So, as Bogdan mentioned, our hub created as one of the results of the InSuRE project. It was really short 1.5 year project dedicated to preparation policy recommendation about nature-based solutions in Ukraine, and also dedicated to building knowledge and capacity of key policy stakeholders and us, civil society organizations. And it was really a good and interesting process that involved more than 500 participants, a lot of meetings. And one of the results of our project, vision of Ukraine, climate smart Ukraine. And we see a lot of positive things that can happen with Ukraine in the future through changes in forestry, water sector management, and agriculture. And also nature-based solution can help us to recover after the war. Nature-based solution can help local communities to adapt to climate change and restore the economy and the nature after the war. And we really rely on youth people who will be future leaders and will be advocate for nature-based solutions. We support them also. And of course, policy recommendation, you can find them on our website and our platform in short form, in wider form. And one of the biggest results of our project, it's a special platform where we combine where we present all of the knowledge that we combined during our project in different form, in different articles. Part of that platform is special NBS catalogs that include methodology, how to implement nature-based solutions, an example, how it was implemented somewhere in Ukraine, abroad, and so on. And it's quite good interactive instrument with good system, how to find information, what to choose. You can choose like type of solution, you can choose place where you would like to put that solution, or you can choose issues, problems that you would like to solve with nature-based solutions, like tick all of the places that you like, you need, and to find a proper solution for your problem. And also that platform is quite interactive. It's provide opportunity to present your example of nature-based solutions. And also it provide opportunity to ask questions to our expert. We have quite long list of experts. Some one of them will speak today. And so it's open instrument and that can provide us opportunity to work together with our partners about their work. We will hear a little bit later today. So now I would like to pass words to Anna Bruin. Anna, please introduce yourself and your work.
Yes, hello, thank you. Thank you, Alessia. I will also share my screen, which we did test, so it should work. As we know, tests always work. There's never a problem.
Yes, try to do it in full screen. No. Anna, one more time.
Let's try that again. I was just saying that tests always work, and so proof of my words.
Yeah.
So now do you see and you hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. I am Anna Bruin. I work with ICLE, and we are a city network based in Germany. The ICLA European Secretariat, and I'm here today representing Network Nature. And I want to say, first of all, a huge congratulations to the work of Alessia and Boran and your entire team with the InSuRE project. And we're really looking forward to collaborating with you to launch this NBS Network Nature Ukraine Partnership Hub. You've done fabulous work, and we look forward to seeing how we can work with you and the partners that you've gathered here today. So I'm here just really to give a brief introduction to Network Nature. We also have our other partners, representatives here today, as well as representatives from other hubs who you will hear from later. So Network Nature is a Horizon-funded project, and we gather resources, project best practices, and tools all in one place on an online platform, networknature.eu. And we have this mission to raise awareness, to upscale NBS, and to grow the community of practice working on NBS. We represent over 46 Horizon-funded projects that have the European Union has invested over 400 million euros in NBS, and we are attempting to expand this network and bring the network together to realize more NBS on the ground. As a registered user of the network, it's open to everybody. There's a newly launched knowledge database that you can access. You can submit a case study, submit a resource that you're aware of. And we've been talking with Alessia and Boran of how do we connect with the work that they've done to have this also not just human exchange, but the technical exchange of knowledge and information. You can also submit an event and see what other activities are happening related to NBS. We do publish a newsletter, and you can join a hub. Currently, we have over 400 resources on NBS online and almost 500 case studies. And one of our main focuses is expanding the NBS community and providing support, which is why we have started this initiative of launching NBS hubs in Europe. The idea is to create long-lasting structures to support the uptake and outscaling of NBS, and to create nuanced understandings of NBS in the different geographies, and to foster exchanges across these geographies. So we look at working across political scales as well as across all of the stakeholders that are involved in seeing NBS happen. So we offer, as Network Nature, a tailored individualized support depending on what the hub and partnership looks like, but it's very much a supportive, collaborative partnership, I would say, where the hubs themselves are the leaders in seeing what you want to do and how you want to do it. And we're here to provide the resources that we have available, develop capacity building with and for the hubs, and to connect across geographies, across political scales, across spaces. So we're here today to launch the Ukrainian hub. We also will hear a little bit later from our partners in the Nordic region who launched a hub this fall, as well as our partners in Hungary who launched a hub this fall. And we have also launched a hub in Portugal with Portuguese partners. And in May, we will be launching hubs in Italy and Poland. And I do believe we also have representatives of those hubs today too. So perhaps when there's time for Q&A, we can get some exchange already started today. I want to add to this that in addition to these Network Nature hubs and partnerships, the groups are joining this broader network of hubs and of networks looking at NBS on the ground. And I do believe we also have representatives today from the Caucasus Hub, and these networks were grown, and also the Scottish Hub. These hubs were established as part of another Horizon-funded project, Connecting Nature, have been running for longer than the Network Nature Hub. So they also have experience in what does this mean to be a hub? How do we operate? What are we trying to do? And it looks different in every space. But so by establishing a hub, it also, you're connecting to this growing network of networks, I would say. So I just wanted to share that. And looking ahead for the NBS hubs that we work with, and that we will continue to work with. The Network Nature project will eventually come to an end this summer, but not to worry. Network Nature Plus will be launching this fall, so we will continue to be able to provide support and even increase what we're able to do and how we are able to collaborate by developing capacity building programming with and for the networks, and even seek to launch more hubs. So there will be more opportunities for this exchange and learning and tailored support. So with that, thank you very much. And I will pass it back to you, Alessia, to continue. You are muted, Alessia, I think.
Sorry, thank you. Thank you very much, Anna. Very interesting and promising way of establishing a lot of hubs around the planet. And yeah, I think it will help nature-based solutions to solve all of the problem connected with our socio-economical activities and also with nature. So a next part of our agenda dedicated to work that European Commission organizing and supporting, and I'd like to ask Natalia Doria and Jules Degon to present a small, or not small, talk about funding opportunities for Ukraine and research on NBS. Who will be first, Natalia or Jules? Jules, okay. Should I share the screen?
Yes, thank you, Alessia and Anna. And I would like to start by saying that, well, we are there to welcome you in the family. So it's the NBS family. It's also the European family. And as Europeans, we can just congratulate you to believe in nature, in the conditions that you are living in. So hat off, and we are there for you. We stand with Ukraine. So I will start, I will focus my speech on the research side on nature-based solutions, but also to remind some concepts. So if you need to use some arguments to convince people in your community to have new members, you can find some in this presentation. And I also put many links, so please share the presentation so you can go to all the information. But just to remind that nature-based solutions, it's really about working with nature, for nature, and for people. I know that Karin will also say it's working with nature, with people, for nature, and for people. Let's next slide, please. It's a bit difficult. Oh, can you move to the next slide, Alessia? If it's working. Alessia?
Yes.
Can you move to the next slide?
Yes, I'm moving, but you don't see it, yes?
No, it's blocked.
Okay.
Ah, wait.
Okay, let's try again. I'm sorry, it's technical difficulties as usual. Actually.
It's okay.
Voilà.
So again, it's a bit difficult to speak about the climate crisis when you are in Ukraine in the middle of another crisis. But if we speak about climate change, all of us on this planet, we will feel the effects of climate change more and more, and year after year. And so this is a Copernicus picture of Europe last year in the summer, and you see that the green is gone. So you can imagine the impacts on the soil, biodiversity, or any ecosystem, including the ocean. So next slide, please. And when we... Can
Do you see next slide?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry.
But I don't know why it's not working.
No, it's not next slide.
No, maybe we can see.
No.
Maybe let's do it in another way.
Maybe you should try full screen to show the
Yeah.
slides, and then it will work.
I already tried it actually. Mm.
I also have the slides. I can try
Maybe.
sharing.
Mhm.
Okay, do you see that?
Yes.
Let's do it in that way, okay?
Okay, can we go to the slide number 3?
This one?
Okay, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we all know about the climate crisis, but we are also facing a nature crisis. And it could be even more catastrophic than the climate crisis. 1 million species are at risk of extinction. So we are experiencing the 6th global extinction, and this is really the result of human activities. And by destroying nature, we are jeopardizing our food, our health, our economy. 50% of the global GDP is directly linked to biodiversity. So we are speaking about our future on Earth. Next slide, please. Yeah. These are the main causes of biodiversity loss caused by humans, but it's not only about change in land, direct exploitation, climate change, pollution, invasive alien species. Next slide, please. It's also the war. So we all know that the war in your country is having catastrophic impacts on the forest, on the soil, etc. We know that. So yeah, nature is also a victim of war. Next slide, please. And why are we trying to work with nature-based solutions? What is the origin of all that? Well, actually, for thousands of years, we humans, we were fully integrated with nature. So we were living in harmony with nature. And this is a concept developed as ecosystem services in the 70s. So really to say that nature is there to help us if we help nature. And then the concept of nature-based solution was first mentioned in 2008 by the World Bank. And then next slide. So IUCN was the first one to provide the definition of nature-based solutions. I will not go into all the details. And then next slide, there was a definition by the European Commission, and it was a bit broader than the definition by IUCN. And then last year, next slide, please. Finally, we had, for the first time, a multilaterally, internationally recognized definition of nature-based solution. And again, I will not go into all the details, but voila, next slide. So it's really to work with nature, and for people. And then nature-based solutions are also recognized by economic bodies. So for example, the World Economic Forum in 21 made that very important report saying that if we invest 1% of GDP in nature-based solution, well, we could solve the climate change and biodiversity crisis. Only 1% of GDP, but only 1% of global GDP means trillions of euros. We are not there yet, but this is where we have to go in this century. Next slide, please. In terms of research, the momentum is there. So the scientific momentum on nature-based solution is there. So as you can see, the number of peer-reviewed publication is doubling year after year after year. So science is there on all the hundreds of categories of nature-based solutions. And so we have more examples, more models, etc. Next slide, please. At the level of the European Union, as Anna already mentioned, we have 46 main projects on nature-based solutions, but there are many more because we have also implementation projects on the ground. So in terms of EU-funded projects on nature-based solution, we have probably like 1,600 projects, so many, many examples. And so once again, I put the link so you can access this publication, and then you can click on each of the projects and find more information. Next slide, please. It's not finished because with Horizon Europe, so our program for research, there are also new projects that just started, and there will be also others that will start very, very soon. And you see that it's going into all direction: education, ecological restoration, really to fully include all elements of nature-based solutions. Next slide, please. For Horizon Europe, in December, we published the work program 23-24. So you will find all the information with these two links. And you see that there is a lot invested in research, and there is some money on nature-based solutions. Next slide, please. And specifically with that link, you will find information regarding the topics and the call for the different projects on biodiversity, but also agriculture. And two topics have been just launched in December on nature-based solutions, one on higher education, and the second on coastal ecosystems. The deadline to send the proposal is the 28th of March, so I hope that you knew about this. If it's not the case, don't worry, because there will be two new topics for 24, and I really invite you to look at these two topics, and then the call will be done probably at the end of this year. Next slide, please. And now, if we take some distance, what do we want to do with nature-based solutions? And actually, this is now the time maybe to dream a little bit. So we know that there are many, many nature-based solutions on anything, on soil, on rivers, on mangroves, on cities, etc. We need to adapt very quickly in this century. And so very probably at the end of this century, many cities in the world will look like that. So we will have really to put back nature into the cities, in the streets, on the roof, on the walls, everywhere, helping us on many, many issues such as water, erosion, etc. Next slide, please. I found one excellent example and very symbolic example. I think what is very important with nature is that nature is resilient. So even when the ecosystem is completely destroyed by war or by industry, it can come back. And so that's the good news. And so this example is the Krupp Park in Essen in Germany. This was a very industrialized area, very polluted. And thanks to nature-based solution, nature now is back in this part of the city. It's also very symbolic when you know that Krupp was one of the companies producing a lot of ammunition in the war. So this is like a symbol of peace, and nature can come back. And you will find more information with the link. Next slide, please. And then, okay, we have many projects. We know what we should do. Scientists are there to advise, but we really need to convince all the people in all the communities to implement that. And this is an example of my own city, Brussels. So this is Place de Brouckère. So there was already one nice action is to have this place as a pedestrian area. So very, very cool, but there are no trees. So it's just gray. And just imagine the potential of this place. We could have like had a small forest on this place, so giving shadow, helping to reduce the temperature, etc. So we really need to speak with all the people involved in planning and rebuilding. So urban planners, architects, we need a new generation, a new way of thinking, really to include nature-based solutions everywhere when we can. And that's why it's also under the spirit of the new European Bauhaus. Next slide, please. Almost finished. In terms of the next generation, and I also wanted to congratulate you for working with young people, because really, well, they will implement all that in this century. I really wanted to mention also the game Minecraft, because the designers were then convinced by the concept of nature-based solutions. And so they added a new option that when you are building your world, you can do something like this, and this is a kind of nature-based solution, so you will not be victim of a tsunami, etc. But so it means that all the kids in the world at 8 years old, for them it's a reflex, it's instinctive. I will do that because I need to do it. And that's the way of thinking we need to adapt for everybody. Next slide, please. So I put you many tools and sources of information. So particularly on nature-based solution, but probably you know, but we have the very important networks, OPLA, and then of course Network Nature. Also connecting nature, where they have a specific platform to speak with companies, enterprise, so really to have return on investment, etc. We have also one report last year about anything about nature-based solution in an economic perspective. Next slide, please. And then also to mention this Urban Nature Atlas, where you will find more than 1,000 projects everywhere on the planet, and you can search by different options. So what is exactly the question you have? So is that about forest? Is that about water in city? And so you can really select what is the information you are looking for, and you will find many ideas on that platform. Next slide, please. And then, as I said, we have, it's not only nature-based solutions. We have at the EU level many opportunities to help you. So there was last month's press release how the new European Bauhaus could help Ukraine with a specific action. So you can check that on that link. I also want to mention for DG Research, we have 5 missions, and 4 of these missions are about climate change, cities, soil, and ocean. So please have a look, and if you find something where you think you could contribute, we would be more than welcome to welcome you. And then for DG Environment, but probably Karin will say more. No, just again, yeah. There are many actions concerning cities. So the Green City Accord, I don't think it's open yet to Ukraine, or I don't know if there are already some Ukrainian cities in that, but I would really invite you to check and to apply. The very important urban greening platform by DGN, where you will find a lot of information, really a lot. And then also we have the the European Green Capital every year. And so maybe some cities in Ukraine could apply. And I will finish with my last slide with a very nice cartoon by Network Nature. And I have to say personally, the first time I looked at this cartoon, for me, it was too simplistic. But actually, if we want to dream, yeah, this is what we need, actually. So it's not an utopia, and we can reach that, and we can help you reach that in Ukraine. So let's work together to make this a reality for nature, for Ukraine, and for all of us. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. And I again apologize for technical difficulties, but thank you, Jill's great presentation. And yeah, really, let's work together. And Natalia, can you share your screen?
Yes, I'll try now. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And is it in full screen on your side or not?
Not. But
now yes.
fine. Yeah. Oh, yeah, now yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot. So yes, my name is Natalia Dolia. I work in DG Research and Innovation, and I'm the desk for Ukraine. Just to say that it's great to see this initiative being launched. And I really hope that nature-based solutions will be integrated in the major political and operational frameworks that are under preparation in relation to Ukraine's recovery. I mean, we know that now the donor coordination platform is established for Ukraine. The government is working on the plan for reconstruction and development. So it is really a key moment to ensure that nature-based solutions make their way to all this major framework, so that there is also funding is available when the time is right to implement those solutions. So I would like to draw attention to, or maybe expand a little bit on also what Jill was talking about. So some of the specific opportunities under Horizon Europe program. So as Jill mentioned already, I mean, he did say that it's our program for research and innovation. And of course, I mean, the big focus of the program is on supporting the green transition with a focus on climate change as well as biodiversity, which nature-based solutions are part of in terms of addressing both of these crises. So, I mean, here you can see this is how the structure of the program looks like. I don't know if you are maybe already very well aware of the program, but okay, but here is still the slide. So you will see that there is this dedicated cluster number 6 in this pillar 2, which focuses on collaborative research. And it really addresses various sides of environmental policies of the European Union. We also have various partnerships under Horizon Europe, which also are dedicated to some specific challenges, and they are trying to establish collaboration between the public and private actors. And again, if you draw your attention to cluster 6, so you will see that a number of them link to, I mean, in a number of them, the nature-based solutions could be relevant. Then, yeah, and there is this also one of the instruments to implement the Horizon Europe program is the EU missions, which are trying to bring science closer to citizens by addressing specific problems that are really visible and have an impact on the society. And if you can see here, I mean, there are 4 missions that are related to the green agenda. So now in terms of Ukraine, so I hope that for the hub, I mean, you can see Horizon Europe and opportunities that are available out there to feed your activities. So to look beyond the support that you will be getting from the Network Nature project. So there is more that can be done and should be explored. So I think that it can give you a little bit of food for thought in terms of what you could do probably next. So I would like to say that Ukraine is associated fully to the Horizon Europe and Euratom programs. I mean, it's the same agreement, but okay, here we talk and focus on the Horizon Europe. And what association means is that Ukrainian entities can participate in the programs on equal terms with the EU member states. And what we have done is that the Ukrainian government, they do not have to contribute financially to the program, at least for years 2021, 2022, and also the decision is on its way for year 2023. We have also developed specific support measures in view of the ongoing war. So what is happening at the moment is that we are encouraging all applicants under Horizon Europe to create opportunities for the affected entities and researchers of Ukraine. So it's across the work programs. I mean, it was applicable in the work program 21-22, but also in the work program 23-24. And then we've been implementing some dedicated measures, like, for example, the fellowships scheme under the Marie Skłodowska Curie Actions. We have the results now. So we're going to host 124 doctoral and postdoctoral researchers in the European Union institutions and the associated countries. So there is also 20 million action launched by the European Innovation Council to support deep tech startups of Ukraine. But then, so if we look at the work program 23-24, where I would like maybe to draw your attention is some of one of the flagship initiatives, and this is and maybe I should actually go to the next slides. Okay, so there is one action with concrete support. It is linked to research infrastructure. So there is an ongoing call to the service providers to research infrastructure, and all of them are encouraged to facilitate fast-track access for researchers from Ukraine. Okay, and this research infrastructure, it also covers the green transformation. So the call, as I say, is ongoing. We don't know the results. We don't know how many of them will offer this fast-track access. We don't know which of the research infrastructure will be covered, but something to keep an eye on. So then another targeted action is under the EU Cities mission. So there is actually a dedicated call to associate Ukrainian cities to the climate neutral and smart cities mission. So this will be implemented through a peer-to-peer collaboration. And the goal is to help a number of Ukrainian cities integrate the principles of climate neutrality in their reconstruction efforts. So perhaps here as well, I mean, some work could be done by the Hub in order to try and liaise with some of the cities who have expressed their interest in this action. And we already know that Lviv and Kiev, they have flagged their strong interest. So maybe to see how also the nature-based solutions could find their way in facilitating climate neutral reconstruction plans. Then under the Widera part of the work program, we have this so-called Hop-on facility. Not many people, I think, know about this facility, but we believe that it is a useful tool for the Ukrainian entities, and an easy tool basically to come on board of the ongoing Horizon projects. Okay, so I mean, there is no heavy process of submitting and preparing the applications. Actually, there is a list of eligible projects eligible for hop-on. Okay, and it's only the widening countries are able to hop on, and Ukraine is one of the widening countries. So it's actually, the way it works is that if you identify a relevant eligible project, the call is now open. You can get in touch with the coordinator of the project, and if there are mutual interest to bring the Ukrainian partner on board, it's actually their coordinator who files the application to get extra funding and bring this widening partner on board. So, for example, I did a little screening of those eligible projects, and I saw, for example, that there is one which is called the Strengthening Understanding and Strategies of Business to Assess and Integrate Nature project. So perhaps this is something that you can consider looking at, and maybe trying to identify who would be the right partner, maybe on the Ukrainian side, and then get in touch with the project coordinator to see if some opportunities for collaboration exist. So then we have this Excellence Hubs initiatives, which is targeting less developed innovation ecosystems and trying to provide some mentoring. I mean, this is less relevant for this. And what I want to say is that in spite of ongoing war, and I mean, what Ukraine is showing on the battlefield, I mean, it seems that this resilience is posing itself across different areas of work, and including research and innovation. So what we see now is that Ukraine participates in the program on par with the best year of how the researchers participated in our previous Horizon 2020. So I guess there is also a lot of willingness on the side of Ukraine to really open up and bring more Ukrainian stakeholders on board of the research consortia. So this is some encouraging statistics. So yeah, this is what I've said is that it's really, if we look at 2022, it's really we are at the same level as in the best year of Horizon 2020. If we look at cluster 6 specifically, and Ukrainian participation in there, so there are 9 participations. So it means that 9 Ukrainian entities participate, but it's only in 6 projects. So yeah, and this the list of projects that you can also have a look at to see if some further connections could be established, and maybe in order to help your work. And also what is in the pipeline and how we are planning to maximize opportunities under Horizon Europe. We will, it's underway, okay, but we hope to be able to launch the Horizon Europe office in Kiev around summer this year. The National Research Foundation of Ukraine will host this office, and they will really try to promote various cooperation opportunities in a targeted manner. They will also provide some technical assistance in terms of how to draft competitive proposals. And they will also try to help connecting partners and research institutions on the Ukraine side with the EU institutions, basically to identify partnerships. Because sometimes now even I also get actually questions from specific Ukrainian organizations who are seeking to bring a Ukrainian partner into their consortia, but they do not know where to go, where to find the good Ukrainian partners. So they will play that role. Yes, and just to flag to you is that from our side, of course, it's we are putting, as I've said in the beginning, that we should try to advocate, and your role will be to advocate for the role of the nature-based solutions in Ukraine's reconstruction and recovery plans. So from our side, it's also very highly on our agenda that research and innovation itself is also not left by the wayside. So we strongly advocate for the role of research and innovation to make sure that Ukraine's recovery is modern, sustainable, green, and digital. Yeah, so in here some maybe some useful links where you can find a bit more information, also what the Ukrainian government doing in trying to establish better networks between the Ukrainian researchers and entities. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, Natalia. Very useful information, not only for WWF-Ukraine, but for all of others, our possible partners and other organizations. And next, I'd like to ask Karin Zaumberger to tell us some words about possible role of implementation of nature-based solutions to provide jobs and contribute to reconstruction. Karin, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'd like to introduce myself very briefly. I'm Karin Zaumberger. I work in the European Commission in the international team working for biodiversity and having a main focus on the biodiversity climate change nexus, and this brings me naturally to nature-based solutions. But first of all, I would really express my sincere respect for the work you are doing, and in spite of this very difficult situation you're in. I think this is truly inspiring, this is motivating, and this gives hope that the dream that Gilles mentioned, that we really can make it, we can make this dream come true. I feel actually humbled by the work you are doing, and I think let's really work together. I find this quite emotional. I mean, I don't know how to say it. It's difficult in a Zoom, but I think it comes sincere. It comes really from the bottom of my heart, not so much politics. No, but coming to politics. So in short, nature-based solutions are kind of a red line that goes through both European and international policies. You have in the European Green Deal and all these initiatives, the biodiversity strategy, the adaptation strategy, the renovation plan, the European Bauhaus, everywhere nature-based solutions coming through. I mean, it's a bit like really popping up, like in spring, the flowers come back. So I think that's truly motivating, but it doesn't, I mean, it always needs some pushing still, but once you actually come to the implementation on the ground, then it gets settled. And that's where these hubs, and I mean, also notably now Ukrainian Hub, is really so very important. On the international level, I mean, now we have nature-based solutions referred to in all Rio conventions, which is very good. But now, of course, one thing is having the agreements like Kunming Memorial, Global Biodiversity Framework, Paris Agreement down, but implementation is key. And their nature-based solutions are really not the panacea, not solving everything, but really being a very important part of this puzzle. And I mean, Gilles has already explained these multi-benefits that we can gain from implementing nature-based solutions for people, for nature, and for climate. And now I would like to move on this, I mean, working with nature, with people. So that was my pitch, with people, but also, I mean, people need decent jobs, they need livelihoods. And I think through the implementation of nature-based solutions, exactly that can be provided, as the implementation of nature-based solutions provides jobs and business opportunities. And that's not me saying this. There was a recent report from the International Labour Organization, UNEP and IUCN. I will put it in the chat later on. Maybe you've been aware of that already, which really highlights the possibility to create millions of new jobs on all kinds of levels through the implementation of nature-based solutions. But it also makes the necessity of having policies for the transition in place. It doesn't just fall all into place like magic. So there needs a certain steer, a certain governance. But I think with the objectives well set and with the safeguards, environmental and the social safeguards in place, there's really not only a small path, but really a big avenue where we can work on. And particularly now for the Ukrainian Hub, I think you are really probably the start. I like to think of something really much bigger, that it will really sprout, because when you reconstruct, you can do it actually much better, much beautiful than it was before. I think this should be the ambition. I mean, we can maybe, because nature-based solutions increase the resilience in both urban and rural areas. And again, it's difficult to add on what has already been said. I mean, Gilles has showed very nice images of this already, so that nature is truly powerful when nature protects when it's protected. And I mean, through doing it, I think also through reconnecting to nature, we can also then do a lot for our mental and our physical health. Now, the other real big advantage when we think about the working with people is that nature-based solutions, in a way, they're very ready at hand. I mean, protecting, restoring, sustainably using nature, it's kind of, we know how to do it. It's sometimes, we have already been doing it for a long time. It needs to accelerate, to really establish what has been, to reactivate old traditions. So, I mean, it can really also help to make a bridge between the different generations, learning from one another. It comes, the young people having these new ideas. I mean, I like this example of the game. I mean, regardless of what avenue you will choose, but you will be able to really spread this power, because the fact that you're doing this now already is just, as I said before, I'm repeating myself, but that really gives really strong inspiration. And now through this implementation of nature-based solutions, it's really a two-way street, because by doing it, this empowers people and builds this responsibility and ownership. This is for successful nature-based solutions, because not only it's not top-down, but it really needs to come from bottom-up, through the participatory approach in buying, building with the people who are living there. And then you establish the job and business opportunities, so it then can really go on. You can really create a flourishing community. And coming now to close the circle, coming back to the bigger policy objectives. I mean, we often speak about that we need to achieve transformative change, and then very intelligent people, we are thinking, how can we do it? And that's, of course, all very important. But at the same time, through the implementation of nature-based solutions, you actually achieve transformative change. I mean, this kind of is the magic in it. And yeah, I think I will stop here. I really hope to really keep in contact. I wish you really all the best for this launch. I mean, not only for the launch, but certainly for the establishment and the work in this Ukrainian hub. And thank you very much for being in this room and allowing me to say some words. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Karin. Very, very inspiring words. Thank you. And next, I'd like to pass words to Anna. And Anna, can you help us and moderate the next block of short presentation about different hubs, nature-based solutions hubs that already exist in?
Yes, so we asked a few of the existing hubs to prepare a few slides to share with you about their work and where they're coming from. And then hopefully we have some time also for some questions. So Alessia, do we have 20 minutes or how long do we have about?
Yeah, let's say 20 minutes.
So maybe I would ask Jona if you would be willing to start us off and share about the Nordic Hub.
Hello, everybody. Yes, I can do that. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, let's see if I can share my screen.
And while she's getting that going, I would just maybe suggest we hear from all of the hubs and then we do questions at the end.
Can you see my screen now? Yeah. All right. So just a short update from the Nordic Hub. We launched of course, I'll start by saying my name is Jona Olafsøtter, and I am coordinating the Network Nature Nordic Hub, which was launched in Copenhagen, 13th of October last year. And the first question was, why did you create your hub? And the thing is that I'm coordinating this thematic program on nature-based solutions in the Nordic region. And that's a program, a Nordic Council of Ministers program. And the Environment Agency in the Faroe Islands is the administrative body of this program. And therefore, I am based in the Faroe Islands. And in late 2021, Anna contacted me because they needed a person to run the Nordic Hub. And because I coordinate this program, it made sense that I also administrate the Nordic Hub for Network Nature. So this would also give the Nordic Council of Ministers the program, the Nordic Council of Ministers program, a platform where we can talk about the projects that we are working on. And also we can reach out to all of the stakeholders that we are already in contact with. So it's like a win-win situation for us. And as you can see on this map, when we started the Nordic Hub, we did not have that many case studies from the Nordic countries, and we wanted to change that. So we wanted to have more projects from the Nordic countries to be a part of this network nature. So how our hub how do we operate in our hub, and who are our core partners was the second questions we were asked. And of course, Corona has had its influence also on our start, but we have had one in-person meeting in Copenhagen to our launch event, and mostly we work on Teams, also because we are based in different Nordic countries, especially Norway and the Faroe Islands. So in the work for the Nordic Council of Ministers program on nature-based solutions, we already worked together with many organizations. So we established a working group with members from Norgen, which is the Nordic Genetic Resource Center based in Sweden, and the Norwegian Institute for Water Research, the Faroese Environment Agency, and the Norwegian Ministry of Climate and Environment. And the Leonard Sandin, who also is with us today, I think. He is one of the members in the working group, so he will be answering questions as well. Yeah, so the working group meets at regular intervals, but yeah, and we plan activities, discuss and evaluate. So as I said, we had the launching event in Copenhagen in October last year, where we gathered people from different countries in the Nordic region to talk about our work with nature-based solutions. And the day-to-day management of the hub is carried out by me here from the Faroe Islands, and this includes coordinating and also marketing of the Network Nature Nordic Hub. Our plans for the future. So when we launched the hub, we decided that by the end of this year, we want to have around 200 members in the hub, and that being researchers, administration, volunteers, and also individuals, and 20 organizations or companies to be also part of the hub. The purpose is that all of us who work with nature-based solutions in the Nordics will consider it as a natural part of our work to share our knowledge on the Network Nature Nordic Hub, and also to visit the page for inspiration to our work. And also we want to get people to upload cases in the case study finder so that we can learn from each other. So the work with the Network Nature is for us a side job, and therefore there are not so many resources to organizing webinars and so on. But the goal is to arrange around 2 webinars this year, and possibly also an in-person event as well. And also to participate in the annual event in Brussels this summer. And between the events, we will ensure contacts between, to share contacts between members and to share news about our members' event, about nature-based solutions. And also we continuously upload more cases in the case study finder. And the goal is to get members to contribute with more content over time. Actually, it doesn't have to be that many work to manage a hub. So if only you can figure out how to use the available resources that members have. And in the working group, we need to get better at approaching members and asking if they want to organize something, a webinar or an event. So that's our plan for this year. And last but not least, we want to say something about what works and what to avoid. And we have only been doing this for a couple of months, so we don't have that much experience yet. But I can tell you that we learned that, first of all, the collaboration with Network Nature has been really good. We have been happy about the regular check-ins with the Network Nature that keeps us going. Also, if there's nothing on the agenda, it's good to just to have these check-in meetings. And also we made this flyer. I don't know if you can see me. Can you see? I have a flyer here. Yeah. So it's like an extended visit business card, just a little bigger, where we have this QR code that leads you to our network page. And what to avoid: stagnation, of course, It's important that always have something on the Network Nature to-do list. There's always something you can do to reach out to more people with your work. And also, if it's possible, to have in-person meetings once in a while. Yeah, we think it's important that we don't underestimate the large part of a network that is creating contacts and relationships, and make it easy to turn to people for help or inspiration, or for example, a presenter to an event. Yeah, that was it from me. I know we're short on time, so if you have any questions, I think that's later, Anna.
Yes, and thank you so much, Jonna. And I'm glad to hear it's been helpful to have the check-ins. I also always learn something, and then I'm able to bring what I learn about the work that you're doing to other partners and other opportunities. So thank you so much for that. And I know that one of our Network Nature partners who's here today, Maria from IUCN, is also working on a small booklet of highlights from the hubs that have launched so far. So that will be forthcoming in May or June. So there'll also be some more details there, and we can share that when it's available. Now I'll pass the floor over to Monica from Hungary.
Thank you and welcome everyone. I will also try to share my screen. I sometimes are in trouble with Zoom. But
if it doesn't work, I also think I have your presentation can try as well.
And is it now in the presentation mode on your screen?
It's not in presentation mode, but we see the slide.
Yeah, that's the tricky part, which I'm usually struggling with. Just a second. What about now?
I see the same thing as before.
Okay. Just a final try, and if it doesn't work, I don't switch to the presentation mode. What do you see now?
Yes.
Okay, it works. So my name is Monika Németh, and yeah, I'm representing BURST, which stands for Bright Urban Solutions Team. This is our small nonprofit company established in Hungary, and yeah, we had the luck to be invited to set up the Hungarian Hub for Nature-Based Solutions. And now, what can I switch? I should go to the next slide, and I can't. Now it works. Can you see it? Okay, good. So to start with, we try to find a nice acronym to our hub, because nature-based solution is kind of a term that is not yet well spread in Hungary, and it was also like a challenge to identify like what is the term best to be used, because blue and green infrastructure are mostly the terminology that we use in Hungary, but this doesn't always reflect the principles of nature-based solutions in terms of biodiversity and all the climate adaptation and mitigation features of nature-based solutions. So that was like a first challenge, like how to go forward to like use the term nature-based solution in Hungary. And if I translate nature-based solution, like in a mirror translation, this stands for this nice word, what you can see on the screen, természet alapú megoldások. And then we ended up with this acronym T, which at the same time reflects that we need cooperation and we need lots of people, different sectors and actors working together. So we don't call ourselves an MBS hub, but we are the team hub, which brings together a community of organizations and individuals committed to the widespread use and dissemination of nature-based solutions in Hungary. I was inspired very much by your presentation of the CEDA-funded project that you started with, which really gives you a good background and a solid basis to start the work. And we have a bit of a similar history, because also our work with nature-based solutions started with a project which was funded by DG Reform within the framework of this structural reform support program. This program is available for public authorities to ask for some policy advice, technical assistance to implement structural reforms. And in Hungary, our government realized the need to better mainstream nature-based solutions in policies, and especially to better mainstream nature-based solutions in EU funding programs. And we were involved as an expert in this work funded by DG Reform, analyzing gaps and barriers for using EU funds to implement nature-based solutions. And I can tell that like nature-based solutions is still like kind of understood as a novel concept, even if it's like sometimes it's a traditional and century-old concept. It's considered as a novel concept, and the main drivers are EU projects. And this is basically from where also like the experience of our funding members, the initial hub participants, come from partly. If you look at the right column, because we joined forces with two companies who are very experienced in EU funding, both direct EU managed projects and national regional projects, because via these actors we have a very good pool of know-how and resources from all the projects that have been implemented in the field and that can show good practices of nature-based solutions. And then we also teamed up with the Association of Climate-Friendly Municipalities, who basically is like a municipal network for the Hungarian cities and settlements that are like pioneers in urban greening and green transition. So this was the basis, just to highlight, like we see the EU programs and EU funding as a biggest driver to promote nature-based solutions, and we try to shape also our activities of the hub in a way that we use funding and resources from ongoing and new projects to be developed. How we are set up. So basically, we differentiate like our stakeholders into two groups. One of them, like our closest group of stakeholders, are the so-called advisory group. They are mainly representatives of public authorities, like ministries, and with the diverse sectors that are relevant in terms of nature-based solutions, but as universities, knowledge organizations, and for example, chambers of engineers, so key representatives of practitioners. So we think that these organizations can have the best policy leverage, and we try to provide them feedback, recommendation based on all the practical experience that we gather from past, ongoing, or new projects. And the second core group of stakeholders that we work with are the so-called knowledge providers that are really like the practitioners working on the ground, or municipalities having a proven track record in implementing nature-based solutions. So those are the ones which we rely on when we collect case studies, resources, invite speakers for events, etc. And we have a good collaboration, and one of our key partners is WWF Hungary, in fact. So we might have cooperation also through WWF with you. Our activities can be grouped in this like three bigger, larger categories. So of course, dissemination, knowledge sharing is our key activity. We use, of course, the Network Nature platform for that, but we deliberately decided to publish only Hungarian language materials because we see that is like the real gap. Accessing English information in English is not an issue anymore, but having resources in Hungarian is still a challenge. So it's good to have a space for these materials. And we also realized that in Hungary, like still Facebook is the easiest way to reach out to people. So besides the Network Nature platform, we established a Facebook group as well to mobilize people and to share news, to share information, to share events, and to create more interactions and professional contacts. So, so that's the two main online platforms that we use. And of course, we try to make more live connections as well via joint initiatives, events, trainings, and most particularly developing projects, generating projects, and implementing projects together with our stakeholders. Because we are in lack of time, maybe I will skip this slide, but it's maybe important to know just that we didn't establish like a legal personality, so it's a very flexible cooperation model that we work with, and we don't want to formalize it more, just to keep it running and co-created together with the partners. We had our launch event also in October, just 1 week after the Nordic launch event. It's been quite successful in terms of audience and also in terms of feedbacks. It was a hybrid event, close to 200 participants in the venue and additional 200 online. And it really helps our outreach and to give visibility and to get known by the Hungarian municipalities, stakeholders, and the relevant community. And we made a Mentimeter quiz during the event, which gave us a very useful feedback. What are the actual interests and needs, and what useful services we can provide to our target groups. And it also highlighted that they are interested in materials in Hungarian language. They would like to see Hungarian good practices. So of course, it's inspiring to see like case studies from all over the globe. But if they can see that a city just 20 kilometers away could do that, then they really believe that I can do it as well. So they are interested in the Hungarian case studies and good practices very much. And they are very much interested in information on funding opportunities, because that's the other main driver, as I said. And in terms of cooperations and what kind of actors they would like the hub to have them to be engaged with, are water management organizations, engineering companies, landscape architects, and of course, nature protection experts. So I think it also shows that people know very well who are the ingredients to work with if they would like to promote nature-based solutions. And they highlighted that in terms of activities or services of the hub, the most useful for them is to have the matchmaking, to find the right experts, the right planners, the right engineers, ecologists, etc., communicators to develop projects. So this is what we really need to work on to engage and identify, to find and identify, engage more and more professionals that can help future project promoters. Basically, just a few ideas what we have in mind for this year. Of course, we are running our online platform and trying to increase our Facebook community. We have regular working group meetings with our advisory group. Regular means like 3 or 4 times a year. We are constantly looking at funding opportunities. Also, Horizon, Life, Interrex are very useful source for projects, but also the national funds as well. What we are currently working on is a user-friendly guidance document on how to apply nature-based solutions in cross-border cooperation programs. And also we have invitations to present MBS and the hub itself at various events and workshops. Yeah, as also Jonas said, we have limitations in resources, of course. So organizing our own events, producing content on our own, it's like really needs resources. So we do it this mostly if we can find a partner to cooperate, to sponsor our activities, and we try to find synergies. So with ongoing projects, if there is a project focusing on nature-based solution, and we try to use like opening a launch event or a final conference to also bring in our hub and our activities. So this is how we try to make it resource and cost efficient. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Monica, and for sharing the good work that you've been able to do and momentum you've been able to build in just a few months. I think we also have Jillian Dick here from another hub, which has been started before the Network Nature project, so brings a slightly different perspective to how hubs organize and work. So maybe I pass the floor to Jillian before we open it for questions and answers.
Hi, thank you, and apologies, I've been jumping in and out of meetings, and I will try and do this very quickly. So the Scottish Hub is one of the legacy projects from Connecting Nature. So Connecting Nature developed the idea of these nature-based solution hubs and trialed them with colleagues in Brazil, South Korea, and the Caucasus to a certain extent. And we realized that we actually weren't leaving a legacy behind in Europe. So 3 hubs came out of that. So one coming out of A Coruña in Spain, the Spanish hub, Spanish language, dealing with the same issues that Monica's just described from Hungary, that you need material in Spanish. The Belgian hub out of Genk, again, material in Belgium. We can do any of that unless anybody wants it in Gaelic, which is the Scottish language. But we are doing a hub based out of Scotland that we are hopeful reaches out to a wider audience. We did do an in-person launch at Grow Chapel, which is a community growing space in Drumchapel, which is a deprived community in the northeast of Glasgow. It was sunny, amazingly, warmer than it is today. And we looked to create the hub having collaborated with our key agencies. So our environmental agencies, our nature, Scottish Nature, our Historic Environment Scotland, the Scottish Government, where we reached out and said, we think this idea is a good idea. Would you guys like to collaborate with us? We also reached out to the local universities and neighbouring councils. What we wanted to do was create a peer-to-peer sharing opportunity, a learning opportunity, and to tell those good news stories. Scotland's quite geographically diverse. You can't get from one end of Scotland to the other in less than about 4.5 hours. At the minute with the snow, part of Scotland's cut off. So we thought we'll do lunch and learn. So we will do events probably once every 2 months at the minute online, from 12 to 1 UK time, which is 1 till 2 Central European time, so others can join us. Because it's in English, we know that we could get a wider audience, that people might want to hear what we're saying. And we're recording those presentations, and they are going up on the website for the Urban by Nature, so anybody can replay them if they want to. We're being supported at the moment by Clever Cities, by ICLEI themselves, and by the University of Glasgow. We were really lucky. University of Glasgow got some UK research funding, got a big project funding, but they have to tell people what they're doing. They have to reach out and show that they've involved the community. So they needed an opportunity to share what they were doing. And we needed somebody that had a bit of event planning and was happy to work with us to share what we're doing. So what you can see on the screen at the minute is the 3 events that we've had so far. So an introduction, following that in-person one on the 27th of October. We then had one about trees in December. And yesterday on International Women's Day, we were talking about managing water. That recording should be up in the next week or so, but the other 2 recordings are there if anybody wants to replay them, use them. What we did with the Lunch and Learn is decided we were going to have 3 10-minute talks, so quick fire talks that would take no more than half an hour. And that would then give us half an hour for any questions from the floor. And we have plants in the audience like me. If there are no questions coming from the floor, we'll ask the questions, because sometimes people don't feel confident enough to ask a question. So we're trying to make sure they can have all of those different ideas. We are planning this next series, so we want to talk about soils. Really interesting subject, but you need to know what's going on below the ground in order to plan what's going on above. Place, so place making, place-based approaches, really big thing in Scotland. I often talk about us taking a place-based approach using a nature-based solutions lens to create climate adaptive places. So we want to have a look at what people understand by place, that place attachment. Certainly the folk in Ukraine will understand that. You are really attached to what it culturally means to come from a place. So we're going to have a conversation about that, and we might be reaching out to you guys and saying, do you want to come and pitch your ideas of what place means to us? Something about financing, big knotty problem in the UK at the minute, because we've cut off one of the biggest funders that we could have, which you guys have got. We'll see where that goes. Blue-green infrastructure, because we want to reclaim the words. People think that nature-based solutions is something different from blue-green infrastructure. And data and digital. So can we start asking the map? Can we start capturing the data? Can we use that for visualizing? Can we use that to give us the evidence we need for funding or conversations with community? So who's doing great things out there at the moment? Our partners that are helping us to do that are Urban by Nature, this network, this hub you are joining, ICLEI. There's still the old Connecting Nature community out there. So although the project was stopped funding last year, we're still talking to each other, we're still collaborating, we're still helping. And there is the nature-based enterprise.eu website where communities can talk to each other. Glasgow is part of Cities with Nature. Clever Cities is still supporting us, and University of Glasgow is helping us. But we're part of a bigger, wider network in Scotland, and hopefully in the UK, Ireland, and the wider European. The one we did yesterday had folk phoning in from Cyprus, we had folk joining us from Sweden, and hopefully people can pick the information up from it and rejoin us. I'm going to stop sharing the screen there, but my last kind of parting shot was, we're all in this together, we can all support each other and look at other hubs' output as well. If you're looking for ideas, or if you're looking for somebody to tell you a bit more about something, there are ways and means to get things translated if we need them to be translated, etc. And we will be reaching out to you guys as we get to those subjects to see, do you have expertise that you want to share with the English-speaking hub that's coming out of Scotland? So do you want to share your experience of what place means to you in Ukraine with the folk in the Scottish hub, but bearing in mind that that could be sharing with anybody worldwide, anybody that wants to dial in? And I'll stop there.
Thank you so much, Gillian. It's really great to, Gillian's been doing this longer, the hub stuff longer than most of us. And so thank you so much for sharing your experience and expertise and bringing those examples also about exactly what you just said with reaching out to people to bring expertise to the different hubs and to the different platforms that everybody's working on. And I do, before we open to Q&As, want to pass the floor for a few more minutes to another hub that came out of the Connecting Nature program. Mamuka is here representing the Caucasus, and I would recommend take a look at those videos that Gillian mentioned that will be up on Urban by Nature, and in Network Nature Plus we will be working with the Urban by Nature program to think creatively and strategically what we can develop with them for the hubs that have been established. So it might be a good introduction there. And with that, I'll pass it to you, Mamuka. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anna. We'll try to be as brief as possible. Actually, the good that you mentioned, the Urban by Nature. So we consider ourselves like the daughter and the son of the Connecting Nature project and the Urban by Nature program by ICLEI. Daughter and son because I'm a son, but Shushanik Asmarian is a daughter from Armenia. So we jointly implement it, and yeah, these are the nice videos worth looking for. I will provide the link later on in one of the last slides. This is the establishment of the kind of a Georgian part of the hub, but we had Armenian guests, and it was a great event just before the pandemic. So, and Daniel Larizzi from ICLEI advocated do the webinars. And the Georgians said, no, webinars are not the medium for communication. And it was a big mistake, because we could have a great launch of the online life we really entered. But we were quite fast, and those videos were developed in June. So we could do it in February, I think, and that would have been really useful. So listen to the advice of ICLEI. Therefore, so you will be on the safe side. So we actually, one of the last deliverables of ICLEI in that project was on a nature-based economy. And please keep this in mind, although the funding is needed. Yeah, so economy is good, but still not nature-based today. So limiting funding is an issue, is an issue. Unless you have some funds, you cannot implement the project. That's clear. One thing, and in that book, we wrote a couple of ideas, couple of enablers. One was a green city action plans, for instance. Actually, the methodology designed for EBRD by ICLEI. And I just checked, a lot of Ukrainian cities are doing the Green City Action Plan. Even Mariupol is there. So I really wish you that Ukraine implements the Green City Action Plan, and there is a lot of NBS there. That time will come, I trust. Another was that there were a lot of tools developed under the Connecting Nature, just only one project. And earlier the Commission representatives, they mentioned how many projects are there. There is a lot of tools. So I will only concentrate on those I know, and do not try to be big, try to be small. And Armenian colleagues are very smart. They did the physical kindergarten. I won't have time to show this 1-minute video, but there is a link, and please have a look. What is the green wall? Very cheap fun. You don't need some fancy things. Every kindergarten can have it, and Armenians share their experience on this. But do not stay small. Think about the big also. We try to do this with because geographic, my company is not really doing the NBS, but we are doing the planning. So in the planning, I use the strategic environmental assessment as a way to mainstream the NBS into the special plans. These planners, they don't want to do the NBS, but the strategic environmental assessment is the tool for environment people to push for solutions. And you will have to reconstruct a lot of cities, because they are destroyed. Many of them are destroyed, and use the opportunity, those cities which are not destroyed, to follow the suit also, to use the NBS in a planning effort. And the strategic environmental assessment is a tool for Ukraine. I hope you already follow the EU directive, and in your association agreement, you implemented strategic environmental assessment. If not, wait for it, it will come very quick. And then there are the nitty-gritty of how to use the NBS impact assessment for strategic environmental assessment. So I would not have a time to describe this in detail, but just to show you the number of tools. The last one is the fantastic one. Unfortunately, Gillian did not talk about this, but TRICO impact app. So you will see there how quickly to write up those documents so that your financiers can quickly provide money to you. I don't know, 10,000, 5,000, even 500. 5 million is better to have a grants program for MBS. If you don't have this money, you won't be able to do anything. So there are a lot of references here. The first one is the Caucasus Hub. This is after the project we had, like Urban by Nature program has a dedicated web page. Caucasus is proudly there. I hope the Ukraine will be there also represented, but we have also the project stream on the Connecting Nature project. So check all this, the web page. But I would like to pay your attention to NBS framework done by our Dutch colleagues. And I tied this with the strategic environmental assessment. And then there is a whole process of impact assessment for NBS, and you can really put into the planning documents the nature-based solutions. And I would be happy to share with you how we did it for several cities already. Of course, it's always better to do something physical, but do not overestimate how important it will be in a couple of years when the planners will have to implement the nature-based solutions in urban environments. So that's all I wanted to communicate. 5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Mamuka. That's a lot of information in 5 minutes. I appreciate it very much, and hopefully we will be able to share these slides with everybody, if that's okay, to maybe send them to myself and Alessia if you haven't already. Alessia, do we have time for some questions from
Actually, I think no. So guys, if you have some questions, please put it in the chat and maybe someone will respond on your questions. We have only 20 minutes before the end of our meeting, but we have a lot of presentations still and question to discuss. I propose to prolong our meeting for 30 minutes if you are not okay. Let's start with the next part, the dedicated to actually next part. It will be about experience on implementation nature-based solutions, on developing knowledge about nature-based solutions in Ukraine. And we invited to present that things our partners that we know they already have experience in develop a lot of knowledge, and they're sharing that knowledge and ready to do that on wider scale. So for first speech, I'd like to invite Orest Kiyko from National Forestry University. Please.
Thanks a lot. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
And I hope you can see my presentation.
Good.
So it will be impossible, approximately impossible, to explain you, maybe to say you something about activities of overall university for 10 minutes, but I will try. So I represent the Ukrainian National Forestry University, and my university is situated in Lviv. Sometimes I call this city as the most beautiful city around the world, maybe because I was born in this city many years ago, but nevertheless, believe me, this is a very nice city. And as you can see in this slide, my university will celebrate next year 150 years universities. And we actually a small university, around 5,000 students, 300 teachers. So my university is a green university because we can cover all forest sector problems. And you can see the mission of my university, training professionals for sustainable development. And as you can see, this is administrative building, and we have wrote many years ago some slogan of our administrative building wall: ad naturem vivere distimus, let's learn to live with harmony with nature. And therefore, as far as you understand, my university is a green university. And many years ago, we launched new educational program. The title of this program, NRECO. And in this program, we try to connect, we try to join economical skills and environmental skills for our future specialists. So some challenges. Challenge number one for my university: unfortunately, forest sector is not a priority in my country, is not the most powerful sector in my country, and therefore there are some problems with support and financing. Challenge number two, it seems to me there are not green university. All university in my country and in European Union identify itself as a green university, and therefore there is a hard competition. And finally, challenge number three, we are a small university and there are some difficulties here. So our decision, I would like to share with you some of our decision regarding these challenges, regarding this problem. First of all, there is a very simple question. I am asking this question at least for myself during last 1 year. Is it the right time in order to talk about green transformation, or maybe about nature-based solution? I mean that nowadays we have this bloody war in my country, and therefore secure question maybe will be priority. Is there a time to say about something very green and nature-based solution? And of course, we as a scientists have some answer, And of course, we decided that we should think about our future, because sooner or later this war will end, and therefore we should think about our future. And in our opinion, this future should be green. There are a lot of difficulties here, because as you can see, there are a lot of destroying. There are a lot of infrastructure was destroyed in my country. There are some other challenges, lack of financing, because as you can see in this diagram, Ukraine is not, softly speaking, very rich country. And maybe the last diagram, you know, in order to implement some environmental decision, we should provide our country by sufficient volume of financing. So, but nevertheless, we decided in my university that our future will be green, and we need as a country green transformation. So why we need green transformation? First of all, in our opinion, we extremely need Ukrainian jump, because over the last 30 years in my country, our environmental achievements was not too high. And secondly, it seems to me nowadays there is opportunity window for Ukraine, and therefore it's the right time to make a Ukrainian green jump towards sustainable development. In this case, we want to suggest, we want to offer two decisions, or maybe two directions. Direction number one, forest sector definition. Direction number two, wooden buildings. Regarding forest sector definition, in our opinion, forest sector should consist of all, this is a key word, all industries and sub-industries that have deal with forest. We are talking about 20 or maybe 30 sub-industries here in this list, beginning from forestry, woodworking industry, furniture industry, wooden buildings, wooden board materials, making energy with wood, and something like this, and finishing by green tourism and many others. So we want to persuade our Ukrainian colleagues that there are a lot of environmental benefits regarding forest sector development. And therefore, as you can see, we are talking about three effects simultaneously. Absorption effect that we already know, storage effect, and substitution effect is very important. And therefore, we try to persuade our Ukrainian authorities and our Ukrainian colleagues that we should consider forest sector as a system, as a complicated system, as an overall system, and therefore we need system decision. So I am sorry for some banality from my side, but you know, very nice family, this very nice family, good family, is always built on the base of love and respect. And it seems to me these environmental benefits and the properties of wood we can consider as some substitute of love and respect in order to create some nice family. I mean, forest sector family. We consider our forest sector as a magical pill because of these ecological and environmental benefits. We try to persuade our industry. We try to persuade our consortium, our colleagues, and we organize a lot of national forest-based forums within the framework of which we presented our ideas. So this context allow us to participate in a lot of international projects. And by the way, if you're talking about these challenges that I mentioned before, we decided that international activity will be our main direction, will be our main priority. And you can see some international project, FP7 project, within the framework of which we tried to increase resource efficiency in forest sector. It is another example of Horizon 2020 project, within the framework of which we created bioeconomy strategy for my region, for Lviv region. So we tried to create a forest sector council under the umbrella of the regional authorities, and we invited a lot of different representatives on this round table. it is representatives from environmental community, from NGOs, from media, from woodworking sector, from furniture sector, and some others. So as you can see, Natalia mentioned in his presentation some new Cirque Hive project, that this is a Horizon Europe project. This project is dedicated to biodiversity in natural capital accounting problems. And 3 institutions participated in this project, my university as a research organization and 2 woodworking enterprises. So imagine yourself that woodworking enterprises that produce, for instance, furniture boards, know nothing about biodiversity. And within the framework of this project, we will try to implement biodiversity idea on the enterprises level. This is a very interesting project, and we hope to achieve a lot of very useful results for Ukraine. And what is more, dear colleagues, you know, we decided that in our university, we should activate our international activity. We should initiate our activity regarding international project participation. And last year, we elaborated and we implement new course. We call this course as Green Project Development Management. And this course is course for master degree students, for PhD students, and for administrative staff. Within the framework of this project, we decided to teach our listeners how to prepare a proposal, how to write a very useful proposal, and what is more, taking into consideration our experience, we will try to tell something more than in usual project. We will try to teach our students and to open for them some secrets. I will try to discuss some secrets and to open some lines between some sentences between lines. So our second idea regarding a new wooden Ukrainian building. I like this story that you can see in this slide, new European Bauhaus story. I like this incredible woman, and you know, this new European Bauhaus movement is very inspired for Ukraine, and we decided to organize a round table in my university that is fully dedicated to this problem. We identify a lot of advantages in this process. By the way, this first picture was drawn by a little girl. His building was destroyed, and in a such way he imagined herself your future with a wooden building. We decided that developing wooden building, we can kill 2 birds simultaneously, environmental and maybe healthy. I am talking about some healthy advantages of wooden buildings, and in such way we should develop our forest sector in my country. We implement our strategy in order to develop this movement, new European Bauhaus movement in Ukrainian language. We say that we will launch a new movement, and we call it as Ukrainian Wooden Building Movement Initiative. And this is all from my side. Thanks a lot for your attention. And as they say in the Western Ukraine, I am sorry for some scandal absence.
Okay, Oras, thank you very much. Very interesting presentation. What Oras didn't mention that actually that National Forestry University, it's one of the most important university for sharing knowledge about forestry and different type of approaches that connect with forestry. And that university very modern, that one of the first started to teach a student about ecosystem services and nature-based solutions, actually. So thanks a lot, and I hope that the university will develop further and will be modern and prominent as usual. And next, I would like to invite Natalia Wysocka to speak about experience of implementation nature-based solutions, also with some type of forestry or agroforestry approaches. Natalia?
Hello, colleagues. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Thank you very much for opportunity to speak at this meeting. I am Deputy Director of the Ukrainian Research Institute of Forestry and Forest Melioration. My scientific interest is reforestation and agroforestry. Our research institute is the leading research institution of Ukraine for the development of scientific principles of forestry and hunting management and agroforestry. On the map, you can see the location of Forest Research Institution and enterprises. Our network, I want to note that our network had more than 1,100 stationary research objects, some of which were created more than 120 years ago. Today, 5 enterprises are completely destroyed, 2 partially. The state of the research objects in the occupation territories is unknown, but the most valuable we managed to preserve the team. Now all scientists are in safe places. Unfortunately, there are deaths and many men went to war. But today, 76 scientists develop 9 scientific programs with an emphasis on adaptation to climate change, biodiversity conservation, and ecosystem services, and combating desertification. For Ukraine, have considered the different scenarios of climate change, and based of these scenarios, predictions are made for all scientific directions. Main threats for forests were undetermined, but these changes are accelerated by war. Now we are just beginning to assess its damage. Thousands of hectares of forests need to demine. There are toxic polluted areas like the Chernobyl level. After fires, all organic matter is burned up, and these poor stands are also not suitable for vegetation. This is not a black and white picture, it's a real color picture of a burned forest in the Lugansk region. And we need to think very carefully about how to manage such territories so that thus storms do not occur. We have been developing of scientific foundations for forest genetic resources and forest biodiversity conservation. Our main focus now is reforestation and afforestation with emphasis on reaching a balance between socioeconomic interests and nature conservation in the face of war damage and climate change. For example, we have been defining the ecosystem services of shelter belts, calculate the actual cost of the services, and offering models to improve these services. Stakeholders know how much it can cost to provide the service when using a particular plant type. how much they will get additional funds from the increase in yield, and how soil erosion protection help save money. Our scientific developments are implemented in legislation, education of stakeholders in the field and scaling up are integral to the implementation of nature-based solution. On the example of shelter belts, we developed a training course, held a series of theoretical and practical workshops, and now they are available on YouTube with these links. During the war, we continue to provide training communities to do business using the potential of degraded areas and shelter belts. In liberated territories, interest has increased, but there are not enough experts to scale these works. We are talking about invasive species and their impact for nature. This is an illustration of the business model of how much it costs to create a walnut shelter belt and when it starts to make a profit. This is an interactive special learning platform for stakeholders. We have been developing of a message of renewal of biodiversity on degraded areas and methods of manage and restore post-mining landscapes. It's our experience present here. Also, we have been developing scientific principles for felling time to fullest extent at preserving biodiversity and promotion natural regeneration in the forest. Upon an initiative of WWF-Ukraine, we have prepared a report to forests around water reservoirs. Okay. Also, we introduce the development NBS as an alternative to controlling invasives. And we assess changes in forest. We monitored above and below ground communities of ectomycorrhizal fungi in protected and managed stands. Okay. About forest fire management, we assess changes in forest fire conditions, carbon redistribution in burned forest, and prepare training and information materials on forest protection from fires. Now we are looking for partners to implementation of nature-based solution towards post-war restoration of forests and shelter belts resilient to climate change. Thank you for your attention.
Yeah, thank you, Natalia. Very interesting presentation about knowledge, about a lot of knowledge, a lot of interesting materials that Institute can share and provide and actually support implementation nature-based solutions on the ground. For the next presentation, I'd like to invite Anatoly Smolichuk. He was leader of the very interesting project about adaptation to climate change of biodiversity reserves, and also they had experience to implement nature-based solutions on the ground. Anatoly, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Alessia, for introduction. Good afternoon to everyone. You can hear me and see my screen. So it was almost 4-year project we implemented together with partners from Germany, Ukrainian partners, mainly NGOs and also local protected area administration, and it was kindly supported by within IKI initiative by the decision of German Parliament in Ukraine. So we work it within 3 biosphere reserve. It's mainly a forested area, but as you probably know, this area also include settlements, agricultural landscapes, wetlands, and so on. It was distributed more or less evenly across the country. So some of them are transboundary biosphere reserves, so they can also share their knowledge and experience further to the partners abroad. So what was the goals of our project? It's to inform about climate change and most important about the solutions to cope with climate change using the nature as a tool. Then to develop some instruments for that and develop the local capacities, mainly by training and engaging the people in certain workshops and activities. And so we also developed some proposal to integrate the principles of nature-based solution, or as we call it in our project, ecosystem-based adaptation, into wider political agenda. So the first step, of course, we conducted the situational analysis using this Morisco toolbox as an effective tool for adaptive management of risk on conservation areas. And to feed our discussion on the workshop, some basic mapping was done, and then it was widely discussed with the local stakeholders and experts within each biosphere reserve. Of course, it was a bit challenging first to understand the holistic model, which was built further after the results was fully processed by a project team. So we was looking for the drivers, for underlying drivers, for limits, for barriers, which prevent from certain intervention in the ecosystem, to understand what we can do and where we should or should not do some measures on climate change adaptation. All these things we summarize it in toolbox and situation analysis, which were produced individually for each of 3 biosphere reserve and also in both English and Ukrainian, and share it with political partners, which was the Ministry of Environmental Protection and Natural Resources, and of course local stakeholders and protected area administration. To reach out the wider audience, we produced like simple language outreach materials to explain what is the ecosystem services, why we, what the benefit we have from them, and what the threats, the challenges climate brings to the areas we are living in, and what we can do with applying nature-based solution. And also some other leaflets was produced as a part of pilot projects, which I will talk a bit later on. And also we launched our project website to put all the materials and summarize all the outputs we have in one place. The second step in this Morisco process was dedicated to the development of adaptation strategies for each biosphere reserve, which was done in hybrid mode. We have online meetings, which provided by the experts from Germany, and we have on-site stakeholders workshop, which has to prioritize and select 5 of the most feasible strategies for each biosphere reserve. Yeah, and each of them get the detailed implementation plan and monitoring plan, of the stakeholders understand where, what, how, and when they need to do, and which resources they need to found or use if they have their own. So it was really a very exciting process and very detailed outputs we get. And about the third pillar, which is about policy work and legal studies, we conducted the training in Germany to share with representatives of Ukrainian Biosphere Reserve some best experience on implementation of NBS in Germany regarding different ecosystems, right? Agriculture, wetland, urban planning, or forestry. And the participants collaboratively developed the so-called appeal or wider implementation of EBA approach into political agenda. And also we developed a policy brief for the ministry. The other important practical output of the project is a catalog of EBA measures and actions, which would be implemented within certain ecosystems in each of the 3 biosphere reserves. So it also one of the output of this strategy development and situation analysis workshops we have done. And probably the most interesting in terms of external engagement part of the project, it's an idea contest where the external stakeholders, it's ordinary people, some organizations, schools, kindergartens, local authorities could propose some idea on NBS within their biosphere reserve and get some not really big but funding to implement this idea. And we really are proud of this contest because the interest to this contest was quite high, and the audience we covered was really diverse. We selected for 3 pilot project ideas to implement pilot projects in each of the 3 biosphere reserves with almost equal budget, around 10,000 euros. And these projects covered silviculture, agriculture, urban ecosystem, also some even post-mining areas contaminated with mainly with sulfur, but other chemical substances, and also wetland ecosystem. And you can see some pictures from the implemented projects on develop some gardening or application of green manure, some restructuring of monoculture or post-mining areas, also mulching and shelter belt development, or conversion of former but now abandoned agricultural land to, again, to forest ecosystem, some eco-parking, and revetting of drained peatland. So it's very brief from my side about the project we implemented, and it's not the first, of course, project on NBS in Ukraine, but I guess we covered really wide audience and trying to motivate people in that areas to also think about and propose some ideas on NBS. Thank you for attention.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anatoly. Very interesting. It was very interesting project, and very useful and practical, and a lot of other areas can learn from that a lot. And for last but not least presentation or speech, I'd like to invite Diana. Sorry. Diana from
that's okay. Yeah, I'm used to it.
Yeah, Diana also from Lviv, from NGO that has experienced on implementation nature-based solution in urban area, like in city. So Diana, the floor is yours, please.
Yeah, good afternoon. I hope that you're not that tired. So my presentation will mainly consist of photographs. So I hope you will be.
Дуже велике ехо. У вас два девайси включені, виключіть на одному з них і мікрофон, і динамік.
Насправді нічого, тільки один, але зараз спробуємо інакше трохи.
Може є наушники?
Зараз краще.
Ще раз скажіть.
Can you hear me now, maybe?
Yeah, we can hear you, but it's a little bit echo. So let's try in any way.
And can you hear me now, maybe? Or...
Yeah, we can hear you with echo, but as I understand, it's no way to improve it. So let's go.
I don't know. It's only my computer here, and that's it. So I don't know what to do else. It's bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's fine. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so then I will be really quick. That's me. I'm a representative of the NGO Plato. We are based in Lviv and started to work in 2018. And actually, our first project in the city were rain gardens, and we established the first rain garden in Ukraine. And we also worked with developing farm areas and introducing in general for projects instead of lawns in the city. And also working...
Excuse me, Diana. Можете виключити динамік, але майте мене на екрані, я вам буду показувати. Якщо я так покажу, то значить звук нормальний. Окей? А коли закінчите презентацію, тоді включите динамік. Давайте спробуємо без динаміка. Виключите свій динамік.
Окей. Так, зараз добре.
Ви вже виключили динамік? Так, говоріть.
Так, добре, так.
Краще.
Я не знаю, що чесно робити. Чесно,
говоріть, як є вже.
Тобто я можу продовжувати, чи ви мене не чуєте? Можу продовжувати. I'm so sorry. Okay, so now we try to go on. we were working with the district administration also on reducing the mow of lawns, and we saw that this experience was not that successful, and then we decided, okay, maybe we will try to do it on one place, on one joint place, and then we negotiated with the city government that we will have a place in the city, in the park, nature park, where we can pilot different projects. And the thing is to have the possibility to go on with projects. We have to first do it somewhere, and then the assessments of these experiences, and we decided, okay, then we will try it by ourselves. And in 2021, we started to work on a place in the Залізна вода park, in the almost like central territory of Lviv. And this in the park, we now have a territory of about 1 hectare. And in this territory, we are now establishing an urban garden. And this territory has also an interesting story, because there is a little myth going around that this area of the park was established by a really famous gardener, Arnold Göring. And now we are starting a little research on this topic, and they are greenhouses. And if the greenhouses are really established by Arnold Göring, and we are talking about the beginning of the 20th century, that we have some heritage there, and we'll also have another interesting point to work on. Our mission is actually create a multifunctional public space, and we want to popularize urban gardening, but also with an emphasis on permaculture, organic production, and nature-based solutions. This is also really important for us, and this is how the place looks like in summer. And this is how we started. So you can see a lot of trees, a lot of grass, and we were working our way on. And here you see the remains of the greenhouse, the glass houses, and yeah, that's mostly it. We had big piles of garbage in there, unfortunately, and we had to clear the surface. We had to clear it, and we needed 15 trucks to solve this garbage problem on the place. And then we started to work on. And so our main focus is actually create a community around the space. And we thought that it's really important also in the context of the war we are having now. I think like 80% of the visitors and of the people who are working with us are IDPs, internally displaced people, who are now located in Lviv. And in our place, in our garden, they are finding not only a possibility to work, but also a community. And through this garden experience, we also teaching them about climate change, about eco-consciousness, about nature-based solutions. We're doing a lot of projects and trying to also give them some solutions. How can they go on? And some of them already went back to their home cities and now establishing their own garden, their own little project. And it's really cool when that, for example, somebody, we had a request from Lubotin, it's a Kharkiv region near to the war zone, because they wanted to build a compost. And they are asking us because they saw a composter at our place. And this is how we want to work. So we pilot the project in Zadnik, and then people can see it, can experience there, and then can scale it up. And this is also a big purpose of the garden. So yeah, we have a lot of volunteers, but now it's mainly a team of 10 people. We are working voluntarily there. Yeah, and this is, we are growing a lot of plants. having workshops on permaculture there or on organic produce. And this is a really nice project we had with UNDP. We managed to transfer part of the products to one of the bistros in our city. And here you see a famous Ukrainian chef, Klopotenko, and he cooked free meals for IDPs. And we could also participate in so. And this is in the way we have shown that example of locally grown food, especially in urban conditions, can be also used for providing food security. This is also like it's small scale, but still it's something that people can rely on. Yeah, we're doing also composting of organic waste. We have now a park of composters. I think it's like 5 or 7 of them different, and we are now also having piloting what is working the best for us, and we are using the resources we have. So we're using the old beton blocks, and we are making out of them furniture to read on or just sit on them. And also we are using the wood we are having on the surface to like make from them little wood chips, and this is how we build the waste in Rostatnik. And this is our last project we did by closing the last season. It's a collector of rainwater. We will install it in the spring. So in VVC, and we will also pilot this construction. And so Rostatnik is a place for really like piloting and doing little projects, but with big impact and big scaling up potential in the future. Yeah, we are also experimenting with wildflowers a lot, with urban meadows, and yeah, it's like a place with a lot of experiments and potential. And last year, like 1.5 years, we are working there, and we organized about 70 events, and we had more than 1,500 visitors there. And you can, I think that's it. So you can contact us on Facebook, and we can also share contact story for this technical issues. I hope that everything was kind of understandable, but anyway, you can message us, and thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Diana. It's really inspiring project, and we have part of information about experience of Plato on our NBS knowledge platform already, and we are open to post more. And also our knowledge platform actually open for everyone who would like to share information in different form, through like including interactive mechanism, or you can send letter to me, and we will work on material together and put it in another way also on the platform. So I will be grateful if you will contact me after our meeting and share your experience and knowledge for broader audience through our platform. It will be nice. Thank you so much, everyone who presented the experience. And I know that we are already not on time, but maybe someone of you would like to say something or ask something, please. There is some minutes for that.
Good afternoon. My name is Dagmara Redzewska. I'm representing the Polish municipality. We are planning to establish a nature-based solution hub in Poland in May this year. I wanted to ask, what is your experience in establishing NBS hub? We would be grateful for sharing lessons and good practices.
Okay, thank you for your question. Today you already heard experience of other platforms. We are other hubs. We are only on the beginning, but as we understand, one of the most important steps is to find good partners for that, not to work alone, but to find some organization that can share knowledge or other resources with you and to help to work on that. It's really, really important. It's actually nice to have such a website that we created, like knowledge platform, but it's not obligatory, as I understand. You can work without that. Yeah, and also good to have some financial resources for organization different activities, especially if you are planning to do something on the ground, like a plan nature-based solutions and implement it. It's really important. And I see hand, Mamuka, please, maybe you can share.
Yeah. Yes, actually about the financial resources. I liked very much all the Ukrainian presentations, but the last one was difficult to hear, but nice to see. So, Diana, what is the cost of those things? Because in your project, the spirit of NBS was there. So that's the NBS. Yeah. So how expensive? We will count twice. So when you will say with echo.
Let me try. I hope you hear me. It's really hard to establish the funding because mostly it's done by fundraising from different organizations. I cannot say it, like maybe when you contact me, we will really count it and then we will send it to you. But mostly the sums are not that big. So it's mostly done by volunteers and by crowdfunding.
Yeah, maybe I can also add a little bit, as Diana mentioned, the initial project, actually the initial activities was like really initiative of a citizen of Lviv. It was initiative of NGO Plato, and then they got support from UNDP project. Yeah, that supported them a lot, but not all. And as you've seen from picture, it was a lot of volunteers, like normal people who willing to work for city, for their community and for NBS. Yeah, thank you. And more questions? Closing remarks. Okay, maybe I will start. I'm really grateful to all of you who joined that meeting and who stand with us till the end. I'm really grateful for support of a representative of your commission, Gilles, Natalia, Karin, thank you so much, and others who joined us but didn't speak. And actually, I'm really grateful to Anna and network for your work, for combining all of us, for like pushing us a little bit to work further, not stop on that levels that we already achieved, but to show us new horizon where we can go. And it was really a fruitful meeting for me. I heard a lot of interesting things and experience of other nature-based solutions hub. And I understand better how to organize the work in Ukraine. And I really hope that we will be in touch and you can invite us on your events and we will invite you on our events and together possible, I think. Yeah, I see hand of Forrest. Forrest?
Thank Olesya. My final remarks maybe has two components. First, for Ukrainian colleagues, dear Ukrainian friends, we should aware that our future should be green, must be green. And despite of some difficulties nowadays, despite this situation, we should support this green future. And final remarks for members of European Commission, for representatives from European Union. Thanks a lot for your support. And I would like you to understand us that, you know, a poor country cannot reach green results. And therefore, we extremely need your support. We extremely need your support regarding our green future movement. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Orest. I see hand of Anatoly. Anatoly.
Yes, thank you, Lesya. I think on behalf of all the participants, I have to say a few words of gratitude to the organizers, because it's very important in such maybe hard time for our country, for Europe as well, to understand that the green future is also one of the priorities, not only future in general, but what kind of future we will get after the end of the war. So thank you very much for bringing all us together, and you really did a good work in building this green bridge between us. Thank you.
Thank you, Anatoly. Maria, please.
Hi, everybody. Greetings from Chernivtsi, from western part of Ukraine. This is my first meeting on Nature-Based Solution Hub. Extremely interesting, extremely well organized, inspiring even. And I'm solidarian with the previous speaker. Thanks for supporting Ukraine in the most difficult times. The future will be green. And as the best of my knowledge, it's good to follow somebody's experience. So I will check the links which you provided, and if needed, I will contact you. Thanks a lot for this opportunity.
Thank you, Maria. Anna, maybe you.
Yes, thank you all so much for sharing the incredible work and for showing also the resilience in yourselves and in the work that you do in these challenging times and the times of war. And I think we're really honored to be able to work all together across Europe. Thank you also to the established and establishing hubs that were here today to share your experiences and expertise. And I heard and saw a lot of excitement for collaboration and for exchanging and for elevating the work that's happening in the various countries. So I'm looking forward to seeing that become a reality, and in what way we are able as Network Nature, we're here to support that with the different groups working on this, whether it be practitioners or the business sector or politicians. So I look forward to seeing what we can do together.
Yeah, really. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, and hope to see you soon on our next meeting. Not sure when exactly it will happen, but maybe in May we will organize the next meeting.
Thank you, Alessia.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you and goodbye.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, take
Stay
care.
well. Bye.
Bye-bye. Good luck.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Goodbye.
Софія, ви можете припинити запис. Залиштесь на хвилинку.